Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel and thank you for watching. MIKEL Arteta been complaining and moaning about the scheduling in the Premier League. A lot of hypocrisy going on here, right? Remember in December and January when they almost didn't play for the whole entire month because they had apparently one case of the virus and they had people in the African Cup of Nations and all that, and they ended up by getting 3 games or 4 games postponed. Remember that? Yeah. They had all the advantage they needed during tough time in December, winter and all that. But all of a sudden now he's complaining about the schedule is too tough because we have to meet Chelsea, we have to meet Man United, we have to meet such and such. Not sure how he's complaining about something that he took advantage of. Let me remind you, Chelsea had like 7 cases of the virus at some point with a lot of injuries. They begged, they tried everything, to convince the FA or the Premier League to postpone at least 1 game. They refused. And if Chelsea are way behind City and Liverpool, is because nobody wanted to give them any kind of help. Well deserved. The rules were there. They decided not to use rules for Chelsea, but to break rules in order to help other teams. Every single team in the Premier League got advantage during winter and the pandemic, but Chelsea Football Club, no. So yeah, so people been saying here, MIKEL Arteta, no European competition, right? And they are not in other competition anymore. They got eliminated from pretty much all the domestic cups. No European competition, and then you keep mourning. Come on, give me a break. You only have like 1 week to prepare for 1 freaking game, and sometimes 2 weeks without any game. Why are you complaining? Are you planning something just in case you miss out on top 4 so you can say, oh, such and such was against us? Come on, give me a break, man. Give me a freaking break. And listen, I am going to remind you, I'm going to put on the screen right now what Arsenal fans said back then and what they are saying right now, and see the hypocrisy even with their own fans.
Apparently he might even, so that means it's just Karius. Just play Karius. Why is it he's in your squad, isn't he? He's one of your players, right? You know what I mean? How many players are out with COVID? How many? Who's out? Or is it just that your main guys are out?
Yeah.
So you want to get the game cancelled? Because to me, at the start of the season, every Premier League club has submitted a 25-man squad. And even that 25-man squad doesn't always include some of your sort of young English players that are, they don't have to count in that squad, right? So you're telling me a team like Liverpool with such a big squad of players, under 23s as well, none of them could play? I mean, it was all right for them that time when Aston Villa had to play a youth team, wasn't it? It was all right. No, I didn't see no Liverpool fans or Liverpool, people at Liverpool complaining about that game and saying, no, it's a farce. No. Let's not play it. They played it and they won easily and they went through.
And what
North London derby, as we all know by now, has been postponed. Mixture of COVID cases, injuries, players away at AFCON, and quite rightly, Arsenal got the game called off. Now,
there's talk potentially of Arsenal trying to get the North London derby postponed, primarily because of injuries and players at AFCON. Do you think that the rules are being abused or bent slightly at the moment? Because the rules are surely in place for COVID situations, not for injuries. That's just hard luck.
I strongly hope that's not the case. Because otherwise I'm very, very angry. Because we are doing everything to make games happen. And we were made to play when we thought we should maybe not. So I can only strongly hope that the rules are the same rules for everybody.
I agree, and I've been saying it for weeks, that this whole thing around COVID has been taken advantage of.
Not today, in the last few days, of course. So the situation is just like this. We had, how we thought last week, a proper outbreak. And it showed up that we had a lot of false positives, actually. But still, the rules are that the rules are like they are. And so they, all these players who are false positive couldn't play today, or we decided not to play them for whatever people would have decided. If we would have played them, I don't know exactly, but we had to make that decision. And so that was really the only real positive case from the team extra was Trent Alexander-Arnold. And all the rest was false positive. So
it's a reason. The thing is, fans. My thing is this as well, right? This whole COVID thing as well. Now, we don't know. We don't know which players have got COVID or not, right? All we know is they're saying they didn't have enough to put a proper team out. Not to put a team out, to put a proper type of team out that could, Now, I'm sorry, right? We need to know who these players are. It
was really, really tough week. So because the boys anyway couldn't train because we had to close the training down because until you realize that it's false positive, that takes 2 extra testing rounds. So it's really difficult. And then, how I said, this was the team who could line up today. The boys did really well, and I'm happy about that.
And since then, we've seen all these teams manipulating the system, right? And basically, Arsenal have done the same thing. I admit it, they have. But I don't blame them. If you can't beat them, join them. So what? So, no, I've got no problem with Arsenal getting that game cancelled because all they've done is they've just manipulated a rule that, let's be real, it's been taken advantage of.
If I was MIKEL Arteta, I'm pushing to get the game called off. Yeah, I'll do a Liverpool. And I'm going to give you the reason why, right? I feel, listen, it's always going to be tough at Tottenham. We haven't beaten them there, I think, for 12 years. At home, they always do well against us, right? But at the moment, if we're going to go there half-cooked, with all those players missing, then that worries me a bit, you know what I mean? Because, even though they ain't been playing great, that worries me a bit. Do a Liverpool. Do what Liverpool did, I just feel that not just this, but going forward, there needs to be more information and transparency. Because, basically what they're saying is we've got a few cases of COVID, but then we've got players injured and we've got players at African Cup of Nations. Well, I'm sorry, if COVID didn't exist, you wouldn't have those injured players and you wouldn't have those players who were at the African Cup of Nations.
Available.
So you'd still have to play.
You'd still have to play.
You'd still have to play. You'd have to use. And what is the point in having a squad?
100%.
What the other thing? Well, sorry, just before I come to you here, right? How many times in this tournament have we seen teams put out loads of kids?
Exactly. I'll give MIKEL and Arsenal a load of credit, not a moan up about it. I'll give Arteta his credit here. He has not moaned about it once. I've heard Klopp go on and on about it,
MIKEL Arteta.
Hi, Thomas. You touched on the fact that you've got to play again Tuesday, and obviously you played on Wednesday night as well. How do you feel about the way postponements are going now? The Arsenal-Spurs game is now off tomorrow. Arsenal have just won.
It's much better for me not to answer the question. Much, much better.
But do you feel the rules are clear enough and transparent enough?
I tell you, it's much better if I don't answer.
And since then, we've seen all these teams manipulating the system, right? And basically, Arsenal have done the same thing. I admit it, they have. But I don't blame them.
Stop recording.